Hi, everybody. Welcome to the No More Heroin Survivor Series. The Survivor Series is an original product of nomoreheroin.org, and we showcase inspirational testimonies of people who have overcome seemingly insurmountable odds and are defying the odds by living a life of purpose and destiny. Now, I want to welcome everyone to the very first Survivor Series streaming simultaneously to YouTube. So I want to welcome the YouTube viewers as well. I'm going to let the audience build. I'm going to play a video for you. I've got a new toy to play with. This is Nestor Nation. How many times? Let me know how this is coming across on your end. You understand? God. So I guess you guys couldn't hear that. I apologize for that. I don't know what's going on with that. But tonight we have a return visitor to the Survivor Series. Garold G. Vallie is a professional skateboarder. He's a motivational speaker. He is an author, a musician, an athlete, and he's the host of The Drop-In, which is doing phenomenally well on internet radio. Welcome, everybody.
What's going on, Higgy?
Host of The Drop-In.
Well, thank you for having me. You know, we did this.
Go ahead.
We did this about a year ago, and I said I really didn't want to make it a public announcement really until I had been sober 2 years. And the first interview I ever did was with you. It did very well, and a lot of people have reached out privately, and I've got to share my story and hope with a lot of people who had no clue I had gone through what I went through. So thank you very much.
Congratulations on 3 years in recovery. You're about a week past that right now, and I apologize for not getting you on here in a more timely manner. But you're here now, and you're a very, very important part of my support network. We found each other on Instagram, and we started conversing, and just one thing led to another, and here we are. And I want to thank you for being a good friend to me. Thank you for always taking the opportunity to jump on here and share a message of hope. This is, I think, your third visit. Plus you did an appearance for the Recovery Month in September. So you always have a positive and inspirational testimony or a message to share with other people. And that's what we want to do with the Survivor Series. We want to give people hope and encouragement that they can do this as well and make a positive lifestyle change.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah, it's cool. You know, sometimes I'll give you a holler at 6:30 in the morning, say, hey, what's going on, man? Just wanted to say hello. You just never know. The epidemic, it doesn't discriminate. For me, it was I couldn't get out of a vodka bottle, and it was close to death, and I would be dead had I not decided that wasn't who I was. And you know, I know you sent me over a little outline, but I'll give you guys a little about my story. I was pretty much straight edge my whole life. I was a world-class hockey player, rode a skateboard, did all the right things, college, you know, all that stuff, and went through a hard time in my life, actually late in life, and picked up a vodka bottle. And most of my life, I was all in, you know, it's all or nothing. And when I picked up a vodka bottle, it was no different. And I would lock my door, shut off my cell phone, and it would be days before anybody heard from me or saw my face. And after about, I don't know, 5-6 years of that, multiple rehab visits, hospital visits, waking up on the cardiac unit, it was just one day I looked in the mirror and I'm like, this ain't who you are, and you're going to die. And is that what you want? And I made a decision that day that I was going to do whatever it took to get sober and get back to who I knew I was. And it has been an amazing 3 years. I am living proof. You know, when Higgy asked me to do the video about living proof, I am living proof that there is hope, that you can get out of wherever you're at and get to where you want to be. And it's with the help of people like Higgy and Denny. I saw Denny Wilson on here.
Yes.
Just different people reaching out and other people saying, I can relate. And I had no idea, G. I had no idea you were going through that. And will you talk to me? And this last like 3 weeks, last 2 months, a couple people have reached out to me that I had no idea. And, you know, you try to offer hope and help any way you can. And so
Absolutely.
I'm stoked to be here, man. Thank you.
So they say that our secrets keep us sick. Can you subscribe to that theory as well in your lived experience?
Well, I will tell you, for a long time in the beginning, it was secret. You know, I could go home. I had a fake mask on all day long, smiling. Everybody thought things were all right. And I would drink myself into a blackout, wake up the next day and do it again and do it again. And I love Batman because I was living two different lives, two completely different lives. And it gets to a point in my life, it got to a point where, I mean, there was no way I was hiding it anymore. You could smell me from a freaking block away, and there was no way. I mean, my eyes were turning yellow. It was out of my control, and I wasn't going to stop. And when I started living as the same person 24 hours a day, I fell in love with myself, and that was the most important thing. Being able to look in that mirror and say, I love you, dude, exactly the way you are, all your faults, everything I love you just the way you are.
That's
and
right.
For me, that was a huge turning point, because I never did that for the first, 40 years of my life. I couldn't do that. And being able to get out of the way you open the show, seemingly insurmountable odds, to be able to get out of that, I feel like I can conquer the world in a very modest and humble way, in my own way, with my own style. And that's the way I live today.
Absolutely. You are living proof. If anyone's watching this and you want to drop a comment, let us know where you're watching from. Please drop the hashtag living proof. Anybody that has made it through their addiction or whatever hardship that you're enduring at this time, just know there's a way out, and you have survived up to this point. So please drop that hashtag living proof. So it's always good to see you, man. And I remember, you know, our early morning conversations, you know, when I was struggling, you just always given me proof that I was worthy of love. I was worthy of this thing called recovery. And I needed that positive reinforcement in my life. So, you know, again, you have had such a positive impact in my life, and the things you're doing with your show. Can you tell us about what you're doing with the Drop-In and where we can find it?
Yeah, well, my show, it's called The Drop-In, and it's a storytelling show. I have all different kinds of guests, and we basically I talk to different people, interview them, and say, where'd you start, where'd you end up? Because our stories are all so different. I was telling Higgy before we come on the air, my show isn't necessarily a recovery show, but the subject comes up more often than you would think, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I like living in a very honest world today. And so when it comes up, I'm like, man, I'm 3 years sober. I tried to drink myself to death, and I'm effing fired up right now because I'm alive. And,
right.
and I bring that energy. But the guests have been Hollywood stuntmen, professional athletes, local entrepreneurs. I got a neurologist coming on next week. Last Monday, I interviewed a Jewish rabbi. Everybody has a story. And if you tune in, and I'll tell you where you can tune in at, but if you tune in, if one show doesn't resonate with you, another one will, because the guests are so diverse. And there's 50 episodes out there right now, I think. We're getting ready to close in on the end of season 2. Each season's 26 episodes. And I mean, I've interviewed Kevin Staub, like these legendary pro skaters, but also I'm trying to think of some of the Mike Leslie from Candlebox came on the show and did some live stuff. It's just fun to talk about the humble beginnings and maybe the twists and turns and different things that have happened, and all of a sudden where they're at today. Like any of us, I mean, like me, like you, Higgy, we didn't set out planning to become a freaking alcoholic or an addict. We didn't, that wasn't in the plan.
No, that wasn't my plan.
Right. And you didn't go, you know, I didn't pick up a liquor bottle and go, you know, I cannot wait. In 5 years, I'm going to have 40% blood alcohol content, and I'm going to wake up on a freaking in the cardiac unit. That's what I want. You don't plan that. And so many of the guests on the Drop-In, they didn't plan to get to where they're at, and life just sort of steered them that way. So it's pretty cool. You can find it at lifemaverick.com. It's a one-click button to see the whole library, or you can go to nrmstreamcast.com, and it's in the arts and entertainment section, the Drop-In. You'll find something that can inspire you. I guarantee it.
Absolutely. You know, some of your many accolades are: you're an X Game competitor, you're a professional skateboarder, you're a musician, you play the hell out of the drums, you're a writer, you're an author, you're an artist, you're an athlete, you're a motivational speaker, and you are a life maverick. So tell me, what is a life maverick?
Well, originally a friend of mine used to call me a Renaissance man. He's like, you do it all, man. You do it all. And
one of the world's most interesting men I've ever met.
You know, but you know, life maverick, we came up with that because I don't quite fit into any one mold. You know, I really, I'll say yes to a lot of crazy stuff. On March 21st, I'm playing in a sled hockey game. I don't even know what sled hockey is, but we're going to try it. Yeah, we're raising money for cerebral palsy. And I'm like, sure, I'll do it, you know. And so being a maverick to me means stepping outside the lines, doing things a little bit different. And the life maverick, I take my life that way. The tagline of the Drop-In is get off your damn couch and make life happen. This isn't a dress rehearsal. You get one shot, and it's your job to make the most of it. And that's what each guest brings on my show. And that's the way I try to live my life. You know, you mentioned with music and art and all this kind of stuff. All that stuff sort of goes hand in hand. You know, skateboarding and punk rock go together. Creativity and painting and drawing is what I went to college for. Writing a book, I just wanted to figure out a way to inspire more people, and I was trying to figure out different avenues to do this, like what we're doing right here. We can reach so many people with technology, and so the podcast sort of evolved into what it is today. And I just want to inspire and motivate as many as I can with my stories and everybody else's.
Absolutely. Anthony Barretta says one drink and all the accolades go down the toilet. How true is that?
100%. I know for a fact. I know with 100% certainty today. If I take one drink, I will be worse than I was before and probably be dead. And I know that 100%. Nobody on the planet could convince me anything different. And I choose every day not to do that. And I do whatever I have to do to stay sober. And most of the time it's helping people and surrounding myself with like-minded individuals.
Yes.
The biggest thing, I think that the message I got to get across to friends of mine, because so many friends of mine who reach out are like, I'm not religious, F God, I can't do the 12 steps because of this, that, or the other thing. And I say, it's not a one size fits all deal, dude. You figure out what works for you and what keeps you sober, whatever that is. I don't care if it's a 12 steps or Noah Levine and Refuge to Recovery, or if it is just something you do personally, but it keeps you sober. Rock and freaking roll, man. I'm just glad you're alive. I don't care what it is that works for you.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. It's not a one size fits all type of thing. And no, there is no such thing as cookie cutter recovery. You know, it's whatever pathway that works for you, that you can get a grasp on your life and take it back and improve on that and keep building and moving forward. You know, whatever that is, you know, it does me no good to judge your recovery. It doesn't make my recovery any better.
Well, right. And so, like I said, a lot of the people that I run into, they're like, you know, I don't want to go to meetings, or I want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or this isn't for me. And I either say, did you try it? Have you tried it yet? And if that isn't working for you, let's figure out what does. You know, I'll let you know what works for me, and maybe something might work for you. Take a little of this, little of that, little of this, whatever it takes. As long as you're dead set on staying sober and getting your life back together, you will figure it out. And there's no book. It's like life. You can't pick up a book when you're 7 years old or 10 years old and go, yep, that's exactly how to live life. I got the book right freaking here. Yeah, I know it now.
With a handbook.
Yeah, you know, and recovery is the same way. You just figure out what you need to do to stay sober, and that's what I had to do. You know, I went to meetings a bunch of times. I studied Noah Levine's life, who wrote Refuge to Recovery, which is a Buddhist philosophy on the 12 steps. I read the book they were hawking on the TV, like whatever. I don't know, the book that'll cure you of addiction. Right. I read that one, and I had to figure out what was going to work for me, and I read them all. I really did, and until I figured out, but I wouldn't stop until I got to that point where I was waking up every day and knowing where I laid my head down and being thankful that I could smell clean linen and loving pillows. That's my favorite thing, is knowing where I lay my head down at night, and I say a gratitude meditation every night. And the first thing I am thankful for is having a pillow under my head.
Absolutely. So, there's so much, just the simple things in life to be grateful for. You know, things that we take for granted are things other people are praying for. So one thing that I've been asking everybody that I talk to, you know, these days is, what defense do you have against that thought of one last time? I'm going to use just one last time. Have you struggled with that thought?
Somebody already commented, and I read it go by, and it said, you know, one drink and all the accolades are out the window. that is definitely, I spent a lot of years building a foundation, and when I picked up a bottle, it all went away quickly. And I know it'll go away even quicker this time. And my defense is people like you. It's people that I know I can reach out to and they're going to answer the phone. It's the folks who reach out to me through social media or text and say, I need a hand, G. Can we meet in the park and talk tonight? It's constantly, I can't say 24 hours a day surrounding myself with it, but daily I'm in a conversation about sobriety and it comes up and I talk about it. Or my family is very supportive and I talk to my wife, and I talk to my mom, and it's that it's one of the coolest things. And you talk about the little things that people can depend on me again. That my mom calls me and says, can you drop me off this, or can you pick up my medicine? And I'm the one she calls out of everybody else because she knows I'll take care of it and I can be depended on. And I'm not, maybe tomorrow, Mom, click, because I can't get off the couch, and
get up, dress up, and show up, right?
Yeah, those little things mean the world to me. And again, because I'm honest about it, the people that surround me at the podcast, they know how I feel. I just got tattooed to celebrate 3 years of sobriety. I got a mandala on my whole elbow.
Now, I'm going to put you on solo by yourself. Let's see that tattoo. How dope is that? Wow. Yeah. How was that?
It was a great experience. The gentleman who tattooed me is a guy named Pat Schrader, former professional BMX rider and a Buddhist. So he had fun tattooing me, and he said I looked pretty content, like I was going to fall asleep or something. But he's a very good tattoo artist, light-handed, so it wasn't too bad.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
Again, being honest and open and being modest about it, like not that I'm standing on a soapbox, like going, look at me, I'm sober. Right. But I'm a celebration gift to myself for being three years sober. Cool, let's go skate. But saying that, now other guys, a gentleman come up to me a couple weeks ago and he said, can I give somebody your number? Because he's about a couple months sober and he can't find anybody, any like-minded individuals around where he's at. Can I give him your number? And I said, of course you can. Here's my card. Tell him to give me a call anytime. But it's letting people know that, again, somebody put it up. Again, I saw a message saying, I've never lived in anybody's shoes, so how can I judge them? I don't say it because I think I'm better than anybody else. I say it because of people like that who know that if somebody they know needs a hand, that I'm willing to give them a hand, and that there is always hope.
That's right.
And you can get to a better spot no matter where you're at today.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's important to have that positive support network in place, because the opposite of addiction is connection. My disease wants me isolated, alone, broken, defeated, suffering miserably by myself. My disease doesn't want me dead right away. It wants me to stay alive and suffer as long as possible.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm studying a gentleman right now. His name is Miles Neal, and he's a Buddhist teacher. But he said the number one thing to realize is that we're all interconnected, and I believe that. I believe that we are all interconnected, and as a famous quote, "A rising tide raises all ships."
Yes,
I think that goes for humanity, and as we help each other get through some of the hitches in our giddy up in life, it helps everybody. It helps me to help you, and it helps you to help that person and that person and that person. And I believe in common consciousness. So everybody watching this video is helping everybody else, because we're giving this energy that you can't get anywhere else. And there is a study I think 97, they took 0.1% of the population in the Middle East, the most war-torn spots in the Middle East, 0.1%. And they put them in 6 pockets around this area, and they had to meditate about peace for 24 hours. And it was the most peaceful 24 hours on record in that region. And as soon as they stopped, it went right back to it. And that's the kind of things I believe in, that if we get 1,000 people watching this video and all just not necessarily focused on recovery, but living recovery, that's going to resonate like the rings in a water. And it's going to touch people that you don't even know. And you will, and you will never know who it touches, but we are going to affect thousands of people across these internet airwaves, man.
So that leads me into my next question about your beliefs and how important spirituality is. And you have given me many examples of karma working in your life, speaking things into existence, putting out good vibes, and really amazing things happening.
Well, I've dabbled in the Eastern philosophies for the last decade, and 3 years ago,
Tammy.
3 years ago, I really got focused on meditation and the mind-body connection, and my body's been through the freaking ringer, with hockey, and I was an ice hockey goaltender for the first 20 years of my life, and then skateboarding and everything else,
Just a natural born competitor, right?
And I guess I'm a masochist because I was a goalie. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get in here and you're going to shoot pucks at my head at 100 miles an hour and I'm going to love it. And then skateboarding, it's like, all right, I'm going to huck myself, in this empty swimming pool and fall and be bleeding and get back up and do it again. So I guess at a certain point I was a little bit of a masochist, but my body's been pretty beat up. And I'm not done living yet. So I got really into the mind-body connection, meditating and talking to my body. And that sort of continued to build more. And I wanted to learn more. So I started studying Taoism and Buddhism and Hinduism. Hindus are crazy. They got 33 million gods. They got a god for everything. And I love it. But I started focusing more on Mahayana Buddhism, and my meditations are good. I have this little altar behind me. I have good teachers, and the gentleman I brought up, Miles, he's a cool dude because he's a Western kind of guy, but he's very educated, and so his audio books are easy to understand, and he lets me relate a Buddhist lifestyle to an everyday life in today's world, which is not the easiest thing because I can't go just sit in a cave and meditate and stay away from everybody.
Right.
But I understand the ripple effect and the positivity and how that affects the person next to you. And at the same time, I love quantum physics, and I like seeing scientists being able to measure the magnetism of your heart and the magnetism of your brain, and that they can actually quantify it, that if you're sitting next to me and I'm pretty excited and fired up, you're going to feel that. Or if I'm the person that brings the cloud into the room, that's going to affect everybody in the room. And now science is catching up with spirituality. So it's pretty cool that quantum physics is proving that 2,500 years ago, the Buddha was actually not that far off. He was just saying it a little bit of a different way. But again, it's whatever works for you, whatever you call it, God, Ralph, Mary, George, Buddha, Muhammad, I don't really care. There's just something bigger than us at work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you say that we speak things into existence, we speak life, how does that translate into situations in your life?
Oh, it's the last 3 years. The last 3 years, it happens quickly. I broke my leg. I'll give you an example. I broke my leg on June 20th, 2 years ago. And I broke both bones in the bottom of my leg. I didn't even know it was broken. I actually helped everybody pack their bags, tried skating some more. The next day, I'm like, oh, this thing, it doesn't look right. I think I should go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor. He says the big bone's broken in half. And he's like, I don't know how you're doing it. So they put a plate in there, and a couple weeks later, some more screws. He said, you might be walking by October. by October. This is June first week of July. Throughout the summer, I knew I couldn't be, if I sat still and didn't stay mentally busy, there was a pretty good chance I was going to get myself in trouble. So I started working on some different things, a public skate park. The podcast wasn't even an option yet. So
Right.
I'm working on artwork and skateboard stuff and trying to stay mentally busy, because if I sit still, I know what's going to happen.
That's how we met on Instagram. You were convalescing. You were posting your updates, as well as some old footage of skating and stuff like this. And I thought, man, this guy's got a really, really cool message, you know. And he's going through some things. And I didn't know that you were in recovery at that time, and until I asked you. But you know, there were underlying tones, the message to your posts and whatnot, and I wanted to connect with you because of the positivity and the vibe that you had. That's the allure to who G Vallie is.
Well, you PM me and you're like, I don't want to be like step out of bounds or anything, but do you happen to be in recovery? And I'm like, as a matter of fact, you know, and that started.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point I wanted to make through that is June 20th, I break my leg. He says you're going to be walking by October. August 27th, he cut my cast off, and he's like, I don't know what you do, Garold, but you can walk right now. And I said, what about physical therapy? And he said, again, I don't know what you're doing, but you don't even need physical therapy if you don't want it. And this is 2 months before he told me I'd be walking. Throughout that summer, I would sit down and I would seriously do mental workouts like I was in the gym, and I could feel the cast getting tighter, and I wasn't moving, but I could feel my muscles moving, and I would visualize healed bones, and I would do these things, and he quantified it that it was working. Now, as far as everyday life goes, you know, I look at where I'm at today, and I visualize a version of what I'd like to see happen. But the coolest thing is when you're doing the right things for yourself, for the community, for others, you can't even imagine the opportunities that open up. And that's what I had to learn. I could visualize speaking on a stage in front of 100,000 people, but I can't imagine what is yet to come. That's what I'm saying. I can't imagine what is gonna come. I just know that I'm going to be put exactly where I need to be, whatever that is. And usually the outcome is tenfold of what I could have ever imagined. I thought I'd be starting a podcast from my couch again and trying to do it because I enjoyed doing it. Next thing you know, I'm in a studio with 5 people working behind the glass, and we're reaching thousands of people every week. I couldn't have imagined that. I really couldn't. And just when you're doing the right things, when you're treating your body right, when you're living proof that
living proof, baby,
that recovery does work. People that are supposed to be in your life gravitate towards you. We are giant magnets, and the right people end up becoming your best friends. And we can't do it alone. There's no way I would be here if I tried to do it alone and say, I'm punk rock DIY, do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
I couldn't. I can't. There's no way in hell I could have DIY'd recovery. No way. So many people played a role in me being alive here talking to you that I'd have to run down the list that would run probably all the way upstairs and out the door. People who have helped me to get to this point. And I will be forever grateful.
Hi, Catherine. I want to take a moment and thank everyone for tuning in. If you would, please go subscribe to the No More Heroin Survivor Series on YouTube. I'll be adding more content. We're going to be doing more simulcasting from Facebook and YouTube, and we're going to be moving towards podcasting as well to reach a larger audience, because you know there's only so many people that get reached through Facebook. And the message needs to be heard. You know, you can turn your life around. You're not alone in this. And there are people that have been through very similar situations and overcome and came out of that desperate, dark cycle and reclaimed their lives and are doing amazing, amazing things. It's about a positive lifestyle change. And this is what Garold is talking about. The things he's doing in life today are things that he never envisioned for himself. he had crawling into a vodka bottle and was isolating and just was drinking himself to death. But he made a choice. He took action and he started building on his small successes. And this guy has been on some major platforms, doing amazing things. He's, people all around the world. Professional, athletes. Stuntmen, actors, musicians, and these people want to talk to you and share their message because they have message. It's not only about addiction; it's about overcoming life's tragedies, horrors, any hardships. This is what we're doing with both of our platforms. Using ourselves as not necessarily examples, but doorways and pathways for people to share their stories, and that's such a powerful tool.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the comments, and I love it. I love just looking at different things, and one that Lauren Chilson talks about online meetings, and technology helps so many people, because I have a friend who lives in the middle of nowhere, and there aren't meetings for hundreds of miles. And dude is going to like 5 meetings a day online because that's what it takes for him to feel connected to other like-minded individuals. And that's a great example to me. You do whatever you have to do. When you get to a point, you do whatever you have to do.
Thank you.
And thank you, Matt, for the congratulations, brother. I personally got to that point. I didn't care if I ever rode a skateboard again. I didn't care if I ever did a podcast again. I just knew I wanted to be sober. That's it. I didn't want to feel like this. Ironically, my sober date is Groundhog's Day, February 2nd. I just didn't want to live that life over and over and over again. And today I'm willing to do what I got to do, and that's doing interviews with Higgy, talking to people on a daily basis, figuring out, how I can be of service to somebody else. Those are the important things for me today.
Absolutely. I get a spiritual recharge when I do shows like this, because I need to see proof that this is worthwhile, that whatever I'm going through, somebody else has been through it too, and maybe worse, Well,
and that's, some people that knew me when I was younger, the crazy thing is when people do hear about my story, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, "We never even seen you drink a beer, dude." Like, because I was straight edge most of my life, and people saw the newspaper clippings or whatever, and it seemed like, oh, he's got his stuff together. He's got his life together. It's a perfect life, professional athlete, doing all this kind of stuff. And, it's not something you put on a billboard. You don't broadcast it. And because I would just stack up bottles in my house, lock my door, shut off my cell phone, I wasn't out around town doing things. I still was trying to balance this public persona with the devil I was going home with at night. So I was very private, and it's being able to share that now and be honest about it and be open about it and be able to talk about it. Talking about it, I think, is key, because there's still this stigma. And that's one of the things I like to talk about on my show is it doesn't discriminate. There's no age barrier. There's no sex barrier. It doesn't matter if you're green, purple, brown, yellow. It doesn't freaking matter. It happens to everybody. My mom said it a few weeks ago. She's like, I look at you now, Garold, and I just can't believe where you were 4 years ago. I still can't believe it. I just can't. And she's like, you are living proof that it can happen to anybody. That's no matter what you have in the bank account, no matter what car you have in the driveway, it does not effing matter. It can happen to anybody. And I'm really trying to help with that whole judgment crap from people who don't understand it. Don't immediately say I'm a freaking loser and kick me to the curb and say he's a bone bag of worthlessness.
Ooh.
That isn't the case at all. And we all here on this community right here, everybody messaging, we are the living proof that I personally think that if you can make it into recovery and successfully live that lifestyle, you are the freaking number one person I want to hire to be part of my company, because you've done it. You've been through the gnarliest crap on the planet, and I want you to be part of my team.
Lived experience. Janet McClanahan says, "Thank you, Garold, for being transparent with your story. It's very inspiring." Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Janet, for being here. I've read this. I've heard people say it. When I take a drink, the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes me.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's a great documentary, and it's going to take me a minute to remember what the name of it, Passion Unwoven, I think. And it's a doctor who's been through recovery, and he does this documentary. And at the end, there's this little black and white country and western kind of skit. And he talks about sitting there, and a guy across the table from him has a gun, and there's a shot in front of him. And he's like, "If you take that shot, I'm going to shoot you in the head." And this doctor talks about the addict mindset. And the first thing is like, maybe I can drink it quick enough. Maybe the gun's going to jam. Maybe he'll miss, instead of I'm going to die, I'm not going to take that drink.
He was negotiating with his addiction in his head.
I think about that all the time because it was a very informative movie from a physiological standpoint. But that end segment is so true, Yeah. Well, this one bottle, maybe nobody will know. I'm home alone. Maybe I can get away. Maybe I can just drink one drink and I'll be good. Maybe if only a fifth, and you sit there and try to make up every scenario. And I know
trying to bargain with your disease, And
I know where it's going to end up. I know where it's going to end up. It's going to end up with me in the graveyard 100%. You can't convince me any different. I know that's where I'll end up. And so that bargaining doesn't happen too often in my head, luckily.
Well, at 3 years clean and sober, that you are living proof that recovery is available and can be done by anybody.
And you can get it back. You can get your life back. I had the repo man at my front door. I had the foreclosure notices, and I still have that car in my driveway, and I'm living in the same effing house, man. You can get your life back, and you got to work for it. You got to work for it. I physically, I yoga and meditation and in the gym to try to get my physical strength back. And it didn't happen overnight, but I worked really hard to get to that point, to abuse my body. And I made a decision that I was willing to work that just as hard, if not harder, to salvage as much as I could of myself. And again, without any kind of expectation, I'm pretty sure I've exceeded the expectations that I thought, because I just wanted to breathe another breath.
Exceeded your life expectancy.
Yeah, I just wanted to breathe another breath and live in a normal, have a normal day again. I just wanted one normal day, and now we're 3 years later, and I'm still so thankful every day I wake up for another normal day.
Absolutely. You guys, hold on. Before I end this with Garold, I want to try to implement this video again. I removed the headphones, and I want to see if you guys can hear it. So comment if you can hear this. I'm gonna throw Nestor Nation back up again. Hold on. I'm still experimenting with my broadcasting platform.
There you go.
Can you all hear that? So that was the key right there, to remove
How many times are you going to doubt yourself?
The headphone jack.
How many times are you going to repeat the same mistakes?
Such a great song.
Before you finally experience
Nestor
enough
Nation.
pain that you want to make a change. How many times? How many times you gonna tell yourself you giving up? How many times you gonna write it down and rip it up? How many times have you invested in luck? You find that penny facing heads down and turn around and flip it up. Don't you believe in the fake? Believe in your faith. Now watch how
anybody ever heard of Nestor Nation?
You ain't even gotta try.
Joe Nestor?
In the race, cause every time you praise his name, you'll be receiving his grace. Embrace. Now keep me
Amazing artist, great friend of mine.
Spread this message to anybody who cares, cause I done wrestled with them lions and tigers and bears. I'm wearing the armor of God, intruders beware. How many times have you prayed in the name of? How many times have you shown in the same love that he shows to you? How many times? How many times? How many times have you prayed in the name of? How many times have you shown in the same love that he shows to you? How many times? How many times? How many times you gonna lie to yourself? How many times you been denying yourself? How many times? How many times? How many times?
I've been that guy before.
And you're ashamed of what you see, but you don't ask for no help. You'd rather drown in misery and take that rum off the shelf. You pour another shot and blame it on the hands you were dealt, but you're forgetting about the pain that all your family felt while you were running in them streets like a slave for a bag of dope. Your parents worried that their baby might not make it home. They lie awake and they wait and they crying by the phone, praying that they don't get the call that the baby is gone. I know it hurts, but everything that I'm speaking is true. I only say it cause I know it, I used to be you, but I done made it and I'm grateful I'm one of the few. Now I'm headed back just to say that you can make it too. How many times have you prayed in the name of? How many times have you shown in the same love that he shows to you? How many times? How many times? How many times? How many times have you prayed in the name of? How many times have you shown in the same love that he shows to you? How many times? How many times?
Garold.
How many?
Garold.
That hits home, man.
Yes.
That's a great song.
Yes. How many times? You know, then that's very, very definitive of my journey through addiction. But here I am. Thanks to the love and support of people like you, I still have breath in my body. I plugged into your energy, your knowledge, your wisdom. If there's somebody out there that's struggling, may have relapsed, maybe on the brink, what encouraging words would you give to this person? Anybody out there listening?
You know, you know where it's going to end up. I know for me personally, and I only can speak from personal experience, I knew it, and we just talked about it, trying to negotiate with yourself and all that kind of stuff. I did it time and time and time again. I tried for a year and a half, 2 years, you know, a month sober here, 2 months sober there. And I'll give you one example because I know where it ended up. I ran my first triathlon when I was 43 years old. And a week later, I was in the rehab facility across the street. I know exactly where it would end up. And that's, if you have that moment to think about it, think about 100%, you know where you're going to end up. And if that's what you want, you know the road to get there, but I'd rather have you stick around with us for a little while longer and experience this thing called life. You know, Higgy, the hardest part I've had lately is one of my very good friends, you know, and maybe somebody can message me some advice when they don't even want to acknowledge that they even have an issue. That's the hard part I'm having right now. And I'd love some advice from any of you guys, even yourself, you know, at that point, because I needed to want it myself. I needed to want it myself. And if I never got to that point, I would be dead. But there was a point where I finally said, I want it for me. I want to be alive for me. And if I'm okay, because if you're not helping yourself, you can't help anybody else.
That's correct.
And that's the thing I'm struggling with lately is that. But you know, I want y'all here, all around. We're all in this together. When one part dies, you know, if your hand dies, part of your body is gone. every one of us here are to each other. I wish like our politicians and everybody else would realize that we're all in this together. Why does that have to be, me versus you? Why can't it be everybody, or nobody versus anybody? That was the shirt I made last year. Nobody versus anybody. We're all in this together, man.
That's right. And the goal and mission with No More Heroin, the nonprofit, the No More Heroin Survivor Series, is to create some semblance of unity. We want to showcase, all aspects of addiction recovery, life. We are so much stronger together than alone and separated. I mean, that's just the way recovery is supposed to be. It's combined efforts, like-minded individuals working together. It's a collaboration, not a competition, and we can reach so many more people if we could just work together. It's not a competition. It's not a popularity contest. Love on somebody. Go love on somebody today. Lift them up and see what happens, man. Speak life. Speak positivity, speak what you want into existence, make it manifest in your life, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. And Lauren, thank you for the comments there. When you see me leaning forward, it's because I'm reading different comments. Just thank you guys for being here, watching Higgy and I shoot the breeze a little bit about living a healthier lifestyle than we chose a few years back, and hopefully some of you heard something that resonates. Some of you guys heard a message that you can relate to, and that maybe you can carry to somebody who needs to hear it today. So thank you all for tuning in today. Higgy, thank you, dude. Like, we could do this like once a month and it wouldn't be enough, so
let's do it.
I'll come on whenever you ask, and we always have a good time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and know that when I have the bad days, and again, you talked about, speaking stuff into existence. When you're living as the best version of you can, there are days when I just ain't feeling it. And those are the weird random days that my phone rings and it's Higgy going, "What's up, dude? Just called, say I love you." And that's what I needed to hear. That's what
if I don't reach you, I leave that voicemail message.
Yeah, and those are the kind of interconnected things that happen when we are all in it together, man.
Yep. That shows we're in alignment with the universe.
Yep.
And you were talking about the vibes and the energy and how it's measurable. Kindred spirits recognize each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm reading some of these messages, man. Thank you guys again. Thank you so much. If there's anything you think I can help with, I'm on here on Facebook, Garold Vallie, just my normal name, and you spell it actually Higgy's got it up there, GaroldVallie. You can drop me a line. Instagram, same thing. Twitter, the same thing. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. And again, I'll say it. Let's just make positivity go viral. We have enough negativity. Let's make positivity and recovery go viral and prove to them that it isn't some stigma or some rare disease or it's more popular than a lot of people think. And living in recovery, we show them, we can do it all. We can do anything.
That's right. And it's all about making that first step and deciding you want a better life and existence for yourself. And it's attainable. May not be easy, but it's so worth it, man. The roughest day I have is in recovery is so much better than the best day I had in addiction, because I was so tired, so worn out from trying to maintain that lifestyle, the manipulating, the lying, the deceiving, the falling short, always living life in damage control mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so rad to be able to wake up and not be paranoid of what I did last night or what I said or who I texted or who I offended. Again, at the time they were huge things, and today they're not even things because I don't worry about it because I know what I did last night. And again, I saw a message there. I will look up Drew Hicks for sure. Thank you for the info.
Mm-hmm. Drew Hicks was a guest of mine a couple weeks back. He's out of Indiana. I would like to come to Michigan this spring and visit with you and see what you have going on.
Yeah, I would really enjoy that. And
I might bring that guy Denny Wilson with me as well.
I like Denny. I think I believe the last time he was in Michigan, I drove up to Southfield and spent the afternoon with him as well. We would have a good old time to get us three together up here around the Metro Detroit area.
That would be beautiful. Well, we're going to be doing some things in Ohio, and I definitely want to get you up there and get you involved in some things. To see you interacting with the youth, doing your skateboarding and just talking one-on-one with people. I seen you give away one of your custom skateboards to a broken man that just lit him on fire, man. Made him feel so much worth that it made me tear up just to see, the life being brought back into somebody that had never really been given a chance at life. And
well, let me tell you that story real quick. I know we're getting down to the end of it, but it was rad because the gentleman's name was Frank, and we were just shooting the breeze. And I don't remember why I had to walk over to the trunk of my car to put my board away or something. And he was like, man, I love Frankenstein, and Frankenstein's on all my boards. I've had a ton of stitches and concussions and whatnot, and I dig old monster movies. And he's like, I love Frankenstein. And he's like, my name's Frank. And I said, well, listen, give me a few minutes. I'll pop my trucks off and you can have this board that I was riding, as my gift to you. Well, that was cool. And he was stoked on it. But then he had told me that, his birthday was 2 days ago, and he had damaged those bridges, that he didn't even have a birthday that year. And his family didn't even really want to see him. And it was one of the best birthday presents he ever got. And I had no idea, I really had no idea. And we're still in touch to this day, Frank and I, and it was cool. And it was just as important for me to be there and be able to hand him that board as he said it was for him.
And that's beautiful. I shared with you the video I took of Denny's 50th birthday party.
Oh yeah,
the surprise birthday party. Being able to do things for people that never had those kind of things, those gifts given to them. It's an amazing feeling to be a part of and to help brighten somebody's day.
And to be able to give because you want to and not because you're expecting something in return. I think, I said it earlier, and it's part of the 12 steps is being of service to others. When that's a lot of my days are that, and with no expectation of what's coming back, just knowing I enjoy doing those things and I mentioned being my mom depending on me today. When others can call and say, what's going on, Garold? Can you give me a hand? Blah, 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 whatever day. And I'm there and I'm on time. I'm usually 10 minutes early. Or if I tell somebody I'm going to call them at 7 o'clock, I call them right at 7 o'clock. And a gentleman made fun of me one time because I said, I'll call you at 7:07. And he laughed because I called him right at 7:07. And he's like, why 7:07? And I said, well, I'm in recovery, and I like to put those kind of stipulations on things so I keep my word. And he laughed at me, and he's like, that's badass, dude. So little things throughout the day like that just remind me how important it is to be in the moment and how lucky I am to be here. But did we lose Higgy? All right. Well, let's see some of these comments here. Matt, heading to a meeting on Zoom. Rad, dude. Let's spread the positivity to what? Oh, I was just talking about let's make positivity go viral, and recovery go viral, because there is so much negativity out there. And a lot of people, they talk about their Facebook feed filled up with negativity. I wake up every morning with a motivational quote. It's on my feed, and I try to share different things that are just positivity. It's not politics. It's just random positive stuff. And that's And that's it's easy. It doesn't take much effort. And it doesn't take away from my day getting all fired up about something somebody said or having a rebut. I don't even reply to most things. And my whole feed, if you go to my Facebook, it's all like positive stuff all day long. It's almost like my feed is the world, because it's attracting more positivity. And I believe we can do that with each other and around the world, and radiate when we walk into rooms, and the words we say and the way we carry ourselves and the doors we open, or the little things, those, they go a long way in your personal life, but the person next to you as well. I saw many posts on here about judgment, and that's one of the main things that I meditate about, is help me be less judgmental of everybody on the planet. Because I still find myself sometimes doing that, and I'm getting to a better point here. You back with us, my brother? The little things, those, they go a long way in your personal life, but the person next to you as well. I saw many posts on here about judge.
Thank you, buddy. I got kicked off, but you kept on going.
Yeah, just trying to read some comments and answer some things and carry it. I knew you'd be back with us.
It kicked me totally off, so I had to go back through the process to get back into the stream. I actually jumped over to YouTube to see what it looked like. It looks
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks again, Higgy. Again, I want to talk with you. I'll probably give you a call in a couple of days about this whole thing, and because I'm working on doing some things personally outside of my drop-in show on the NRM Streamcast Network, and I'm interested in how this whole production works. But just thank you for having me on. Thank all of you guys. Lauren, thank you so much for all the great comments and everything. Matt, all you guys, man, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John Cole, for being on here. Lauren, Matt, love you. Angel fam. Nikki, I see you. I love you. Hi, Monica. We got to do this again.
Yeah.
It's just, I think this is just going to be part of the Survivor Series going forward. Me and you. And Higgy.
Yeah, maybe we got a monthly show or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But enjoy your warm weather, man. I'm gonna enjoy our. It's probably 20 degrees outside. I'm in the Metro Detroit area. He's down in Florida. Enjoy your sunshine, and I
was just in Akron. It was 18 degrees, and I was just horrified. Such tragic weather.
Thickens the blood, man.
Please, everybody, if you're struggling, reach out. You can message Garold. You can message me on any of my pages. No More Heroin, No More Heroin Live, Redemption Road, Higgy 2.0, my personal page. I know an army of men and women in recovery that are willing to help. Men with men, women with women. We try to do things to help those that are struggling, those that might need support. Those just to keep being able to put one foot in front of the other. And I want to encourage you, let you know that if you're struggling, you're not alone. And I want you to keep fighting for another day. Remember, keep your head up and your chin down. Pray, guys. Love y'all. Peace out.